Martin's shave tests. And it's Wednesday, 21st of January. It's a horrible day. It's raining outside. I thought I'd have a late morning shave. Why not? But just for a change, we're going to go Japanese. So first of all, let's try some of this absolutely gorgeous, the floret de pins, flowers of the forest, flowers of the pines from our good friend Eric. This is a very, very reliable top end soap. Lather wise, very nice too. However, I'm going to use, much against my better judgment, I'm going to use a dead badger. This is not a particularly good dead badger. This is an Edwin Jaeger of London. And yeah, nothing against it. It's just that why bother torturing badgers when you can have a perfectly good lather and a perfectly good shave from a synthetic brush. But each to their own. I've never had a really expensive badger brush, so I'm speaking out of pure ignorance. Anyway, onwards and upwards. Let me talk a little bit about what we're going to do in regard to a shave. This, by the way, is almost completely useless. It just doesn't want to lather. But we'll keep going just in case I'm wrong. You know, hello, nothing at all. And I know for a fact that Eric's wonderful Cajun blade soaps are extremely high quality, so it's got to be the brush, which is probably why you should buy either very expensive badger brushes or just don't bother. But this one is proving its usual inept, but it's still, we'll get there eventually. Anyway, right, Japanese razors. I'm very fond of Japanese steel. A lot of the companies, Japanese companies, would put Swedish steel stamped onto the tang of their blades because they obviously knew high quality steel. The very early Japanese, obviously, razors used their own Tagahamani steel, and that's usually very expensive. That's forged in exactly the same manner as a Japanese blade, as in a sword. So they should know what they're doing. However, you can pay quite absurd money for a Tagahamani steel Japanese razor. I'm quite happy with a normally produced Swedish steel Japanese razor. So let me just finish off with this lather. I think that'll do. And I'll tell you another little tale that may interest you or may not, which is don't overstrop your steel. Now this is the case and this is the razor. So there you have it. That, as you can see, is Kikuboshi, extra steel, guaranteed, handmade, in fact. It's a very nice case, green. Here's the blade. And I love the fact they put that rather unnecessary taper on the heel, which I think is quite attractive actually. Anyway, it doesn't make it any worse or any better to hone or to strop. It's just different. Let me just wipe some of the gudge off. There we go. Yeah, so I would say quality-wise, I always go by the stamping on the tang, and it's beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. It says quite clearly, I say quite clearly, I've got my contact lenses in. It says quite clearly, Valsac Super Extra Steel, best for professionals. So there. On the other side, we have a similar beautiful stamp, little Japanese flower with, it's a first quality razor, good for professionals again. They like to show off. Let me just carefully knock all my stuff on the floor, wipe my fingers, because as I've said so many times before, I'm sorry to bore you guys, but if you've got any form of slippery stuff on the fingers, you're going to cut yourself. Anyway, let's see what happens with this fine piece of steel. See if I can turn the mirror in vaguely the right direction. I stropped it just to make sure it's still HHT'd properly. The only thing I would say is, which was my fault entirely, I overstropped it, after which it won't HHT at all. So I used the old white Thiers-Essard paste. That's good. On a paddle strop, and that works very well. Paddle strops are very underrated in my opinion. You don't want to keep taking good razors to the stones. It's a waste of steel. Yeah, this is really nice. This is cutting extremely well. In fact, I was quite amazed that I overstropped it and it wouldn't hanging hair test. So the white paste on a loom strop, or on a ideally on a, if you know what you're doing, on a hanging strop. So this is very, very good. Yeah, nothing wrong with this steel. In fact, I'd say it's extremely comfortable. Haven't used it in years. Got it from a gentleman up north. And it's very, very nice. The only thing I would say is I'm not used to it, so bear with me. When you're not used to a razor, it's very easy to get a couple of little weepers. I would say, rating it in quality, it certainly is good as any razor I own. The only thing is, I just nicked myself. Been doing a lot of that lately. No idea why. But if you haven't used a razor for a very long time, it's probably not a good idea to be adventurous with it. But a weeper is nothing. I can't even feel it. But to prove the point, just wipe off the excess and go for the good old styptic pencil. Can't recommend a styptic pencil highly enough. It's rare that I need it, but when you do, you do. And it just works, simply coagulates on the area of the little nick. Yep. It has a very slight sting to it, but it does work very, very effectively. We've all used this sort of equipment before. There you go. That stopped it. So, styptic pencil, especially when you've got a freshly stropped razor. Let me put that away. Hopefully we won't need it again. Hopefully not. Yeah, so where were we? Yes, I would honestly say overstropping can blunt a blade. It did for me anyway. So I don't know, perhaps I'm out of it these days. But I would say as far as the Kikuboshi steel goes, very, very nice quality. Let me just finish off this pass because I interrupted myself, didn't I? Yeah, it's got that nice crisp noise. Yeah, that's fine. Perfectly happy with that. Yeah, good steel, good Japanese steel. You can see the remnants of stubble when you, and in fact, I'm going to do something I don't normally do. I'll give a bit of a palm strop. Palm stropping doesn't really achieve very much, but it might just give it that little bit of extra. As you can see, it's very simple. A bit like me, very simple. Yeah, I've got to say that's a very, very nice piece of steel. So I'm going to wish Anthony, my very dear friend, Mr. Fox, over in Northern Ireland, the very best of luck. He's now got a barber, Japanese barber razor, and I can't speak highly enough of the Western style Japanese blades. They're very, very comfortable. Let's see if I can just do a little touch up. Yeah. I love the crispness. This is good steel. So even though I messed it up, when I say messed it up, it's a bit harsh. I overstropped it, and that can dull an edge rather than sharpen an edge. But I'm happy. Yeah, you can hear, I hope you can hear. Yeah. Anyway, interesting little test, the fact that me being a bit goofy today, I managed to nick myself. But I don't count weepers because they're so easily fixed. Styptic pencil, strongest possible, and you stopped it. And you can go straight over the area, no fear at all. Yeah. That's me sorted. This is just a quick show, guys, just to show off my almost fatal inept abilities. I don't know, man, I got a bad cold the other week, and I really did give myself a little nick a few days back, well, about a week back. And I don't know, time of the year, I suppose. Yeah, so would I recommend Japanese Western style razors? Very much. This Kikuboshi is first rate steel. Yeah, really very good. So that's it, guys. This is just me being silly on a Wednesday. I would strongly recommend not overstropping razors. Doesn't seem to do, it can be retrograde. You can actually dull a razor by stropping it. Why? Because you're over burnishing that poor little edge, and therefore you're rounding it, you're giving it a convex feel to it, and that's no good. So it wouldn't hanging hair test properly, but it does now. Isn't that a pretty little razor? Kikuboshi on the scale. Lots and lots and lots of lovely tang stamps. Always a good sign. Very, very nice indeed. So I hope Mr. Fox enjoys his barber razor, because that's a good company. Kikuboshi are good too. All I'm going to do now is put a splash on and call that a day. But the styptic pencil, I would highly recommend. We all occasionally have little tiny weepers, little tiny nicks, and a styptic pencil fixes it. What should I put on? I'm going to put on the Crazy Bird on a dragon. That's a very, very nice splash. It's the famous one because it smells of sweets, and I like sweets. So let's put a little bit of this on. Arianna and Evans. This has got supposedly skin food. Let's see if it works. Oh, that's smooth. Smooth and sweet. Couldn't even feel it on the, I think about there somewhere where I had the tiny little weeper. That's all gone. So there you go, guys. Very, very simple, very short, I hope. 13 minutes, do beg your pardon. Do try and subscribe if you haven't already. And Martin's Test Shaves. Over and out.